I did say in my last AEW Double or Nothing video that I will talk about the incident that happened with the trains, the mass transit trains, after the event. But before we do that, let's take a look at some of the people that were able to record during that time and their thoughts on it. So let's take a look.
We're stuck on the bridge outside the stadium. Nobody can get out.
When they're seeing thousands of people walking back to the same direction we came from, it's like, hey, maybe something's up. No, my car.
They closed the gate. We can't leave.
Surely
We gotta go back.
apply to me.
Me and my wife were there. We dealt with that as well. This is the whole incident. This is how it looked like after Double or Nothing. That right there is the train station. This is the train station, the 7 train, Willets Point, Met Stadium. This is the closest train station to the arena, the Louis Armstrong arena that we went to watch Double or Nothing. There's Citi Field. You can see it right there from the corner. So for some reason, they're not able to enter the train station. Maybe I'm there. Nope, that's another bald guy. I thought this was me, but that's another bald guy. So they were able to figure out eventually how to get out, which was I guess someone broke a fence and they were able to exit out through a narrow space. But now you're trying to funnel thousands of fans into this one location instead of the station right over here, which this is a direct connection to the train station. So this is another view. We were stuck in here too, but we quickly turned as soon as we saw them coming back. Right there is the gate that they're talking about that closed. This is the gate that allows them to enter the train. This was around midnight, maybe a little after, and everyone was just stuck. Louis Armstrong Stadium was further down that way because this platform is going over a train yard that connects the park where Double or Nothing was at and the train station. This is basically 10,000 people on one ramp, 1 in the morning, and not a single person in uniform telling them where to go. AEW, as you know, they just sold out Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens, New York for Double or Nothing. And then they apparently left the building like the parking lot was somebody else's problem. Honestly, in my opinion, when it came to this, when this situation happened, all I felt, in all honesty, was like Jon Snow in the middle of the Battle of the Bastards, because this image right here is exactly how I felt when I was in this situation. But thankfully, because we know most of New York City and the different areas of the city, we were able to figure out another way out. But anyway, we can talk about that as well as the situation at hand. So as always, welcome to the Tea Drop where the brew is strong and there's a lot to talk about. Let's get into this drop about this whole event. So let's set it up. Sunday, May 24th, Double or Nothing, one of the biggest shows on the AEW calendar, runs at Louis Armstrong Stadium, which is the stadium up here in blue. 8 p.m. start. They had a 1 hour buy-in before that. Overall, it was a 4-hour show with the main card. By the time the main event wrapped up and the press conference is rolling, it was pushing to 1 in the morning. But even before that, people were already getting out because not everyone could go to the press release, so people were leaving. And that's where the wrestling stops and the logistical nightmare began. Fans go to leave the stadium, but unfortunately, they couldn't get out. They get funneled towards the 7 train and the parking lots because everyone parked in the Citi Field parking lots for the most part when it came to this event, which was right across the train yard. And there's exactly the easiest way out is this one ramp that opens to get there for a sold out stadium. And here's where it gets interesting. I'm going to build this for you. There's one main gate when it comes to this event. Louis Armstrong Stadium is right here. They made us exit this way towards the circle over here. And this is where this whole video took place. This Flushing Meadows pedestrian bridge. Like I said, this bridge crosses over one of the few train yards in New York City. One of them in Queens is right here. And then this is the 7 train transit line that connects to the rest of the city. You can also take the LIR, which is right here, but the LIR is mostly for the Long Islanders. Most people will get on this to go to Long Island, but if you're going to the city, you could take this, but it takes a long time. Around that time, the LIR is probably like every hour while the MTA train is usually every 30 minutes, 20 minutes and so, and it was running 24/7. The subway runs 24/7. The LIR stops going after like 1 or 2 p.m. 2 a.m. Sorry. But the gate that connects them to get in there is closed. So they took this pedestrian bridge right here. They broke in here somehow and were able to exit to the streets and then get onto the subway another way. But anyway, me and my wife instead chose a more annoying path because we didn't want to deal with this crowd. We came back towards here and we walked all the way around all of this to get on the train. From somewhere over here, there was a train station and we got on it this way. It was a long mess, but we made it work. We got back to our home, but we had to take a long walk across this. We didn't walk right here. We actually had to cross this bridge, go over here, so on and so forth. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, John Alba was there too, and he was crazy about this. He said the gates closed before the press conference was even done. His words were that we had to walk all the way around the complex through the back areas. Thankfully, stadium staff help out, so fans are already being rerouted through the area. What he means by that? Well, if you had parking lot if you parked here for the event, this parking lot right here, obviously the easiest way for you to go is cross here, walk across to your parked car. But unfortunately, because all this was closed until they broke the gate, they had to go another way around. The other way around is basically going around this stadium right here, over here, and come down this bridge, and then there's a street right here. You can walk across and get into the parking lot. Not a big deal. It happens. But I don't know why people were pissed. I mean, they could have opened a Google map and figured it out. I get the frustration because of convenience, but it wasn't the end of the world. But anyway, that's one issue. The other issue was the boardwalk. The walkway between the city field and the stadium that we had to go to. The one that connects you to the subway, the Long Island Railroad. All of this station for the most part was closed. Now, they reported they're saying after finally news sources picked it up maybe a day later that it looked like there was a miscommunication between the stadium and the parks department, which controls all of this towards the subway. Once it passes to the subway, that's the MTA. The third issue is the platform. This is the one that lit the internet on fire. People were saying that the MTA locked out the entrance to the 7th train platform, and I quote, trapped 10,000 people on the ramp. No staff, no police, nobody to direct us where to go. The gate was closed, boardwalk closed, platform locked, one ramp, no crowd. Can I drop a person here? No, I can't, unfortunately, so I'm not going to do it. But right there, they locked it out. So why didn't it get signed off? Why none of this happened? Now, let's pay attention for a bit on how this goes down, because the IWC ran with what I feel is the wrong story. The headline everywhere was show ran late, train shut down, fans stranded. And that is 100% untrue, because here's what I'm going to tell you. New York City subway does not shut down. It runs 24/7. The theory that AEW running late caused the trains to stop is purely false. The 7 train was running, it always does. It's 24/7. Now the Long Island Railroad, like I said, is different. They run until 1 or 2 a.m. That makes sense. They don't run 24/7. It's connected to the larger state, not a city agency for the most part. So let me ask you something. If the trains were running, why were there 10,000 people stuck? Because obviously a lot of things can be true at the same time. The train was running and the access to them were locked. The failure wasn't honestly the MTA schedule. You can put them to the side. The failure was the exit plan. A locked platform, entrance, and a single ramp will strand you just as hard as a dead train. Maybe even harder, to be honest, because now you're packed onto a ramp with nowhere to move. Nowhere to move. You were, like I said, you were basically Jon Snow in the middle of the Battle of the Bastards in that situation. That's how it felt like. That's the transaction. That's it. The story isn't a late show. The story is nobody booked the exit or planned the exit. Now, I stand on this. The blame is shared throughout this whole situation. What do I mean by that? I'm not going to pretend it's all one party, because that's not honest. The venue and the parks department own the boardwalk closure and the gate timing. That miscommunication is on the people who control that grounds, which at this point is this whole park, the park and the athletic field for Louis Armstrong Stadium. The MTA owns locking a platform entrance with thousands of people heading straight for it and posting zero staff to redirect. That is a public mess. But although those are two issues, Tony Khan and the company own the thing they can actually control, which is the start time and the run time. You booked a 4-hour show, right, on the East Coast that ends on the AM. We all know Tony Khan and AEW shows run pretty long. They tend to start at 8, usually finish around 12 o'clock. Been lucky at times they finish at 11:30, but sometimes, for the most part, 12 a.m., maybe a little after. Always end on the AM. People, now journalists, because of this situation, are asking for earlier start times for East Coast PLEs. They could be right when it comes to that, especially if they end up doing an event outside of a major city, like here. Like, it failed in this major city. Imagine in a city that doesn't have public transportation as often as New York or Chicago or in LA. But here's the line that we're going to keep coming back to. Tony Khan can book a great show. Sometimes he'll need to book. Somebody, though, needs to help him to book the exit. A great main event doesn't matter if the last memory for 10,000 fans is that they take home is being trapped on a ramp, being in this situation. The show doesn't end at the bell at times. It ends when the last fan gets home safe. Now, how can you actually fix this? It's honestly not complicated, which is honestly frustrating because, not to put it all on AEW, WWE had this same situation at WrestleMania 35. They ended late. They ended past the AM as well for WrestleMania 35, and they didn't tell the New Jersey Transit about it, and no train showed up at MetLife Stadium. And the MetLife Stadium New Jersey Transit stop is a specialty stop that only goes there during the events at MetLife, like a Giants game, a Jets game, a concert, or WrestleMania. But in order for those trains to show up, the people running the event, whether they have to do it themselves or go through MetLife Stadium, they have to go to New Jersey Transit and tell them, hey, we're hosting an event, it's going to end around this, and we're going to have the need for trains because not all of our people are going to come through cars, some are going to show through transit. Okay, bet. I don't know how fees work when it comes to this, but I'm sure someone has to pay for that, and I don't think it's going to be the public. It might be through the stadium. Who knows? That's not the point. The point is that they have to tell them ahead of time of the event, probably weeks ahead, because in order for the New Jersey Transit to facilitate the proper staff to have this set up. Now, I've been to two events that I saw this happen, a frustration with transit at MetLife. The first one, even before WrestleMania 35, was the 2016 Copa America event, which is the South American soccer tournament. They hosted it in the US, and the finals was at MetLife. The train was working. Nothing wrong with it. They had it set up. The train was running. The issue was there were so many people that needed to take the train, so they didn't have enough trains coming in and out quickly enough. So between me and I went with my sister to that event. We didn't get home till like 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. because we had to wait like almost 2 hours to get on one train. And then that train stops at a transfer point, and then we had to transfer to a train back into New York City. So ever since after that event, I told myself anytime I go to MetLife for an event, I am renting a car because I don't own a car. I only rent. I rent it and drive there. So I did that for WrestleMania 35 with my then girlfriend, who is now my wife. And then I went to other events like concerts with my wife that we did it as well. And last year I did the same when I went to SummerSlam. Never taken that transit again. I learned once, don't want to do it again. Now, when it comes to this situation, I feel the biggest fix for this is the simplest one to do, is doing an earlier bell time for the event. Instead of starting at 8 p.m., start at 7. Start at 6. You'll end the show around, based on a typical AEW pay-per-view, you'll end around, if you start at 6, you'll end around 10:30. If you start at 7, you'll end around 11:30. Probably safer to do 6, especially if it's a big PLE, like a Double or Nothing, all in, all out, Revolution. You probably want to do it as early as you can, especially on the East Coast. If you want to do that, it's fine. 2 is to have multiple egress plans played out for the event, for people to know, hey, if it seems too crowded there, here are signs pointing that you can go this way, follow this route to go to the back area. Hey, you can come through here, guys. Okay, we'll show you a plan for you to go all the way around. And if I make this clearer for you guys, so there you go. Instead of going this way, you go all around the arena, take Median Road right here, right? Go all the way down here, and there you go. You get to the parking lot. It's a long walk, but now you don't have to wait in Death Row Valley here for the bridge. You can avoid this bridge situation. I'll go that way. Honestly, the arena could have done something else. They have a parking here. Unfortunately, that parking was full already, so that's why other people had to go over here. You can't go this way, then take this road instead. Come down here, get out of the stadium, and boom, you're there, right? Go this way. Boom, go there. Bam, bam, bam. There could have been a way for you guys for AEW working with this group and setting up signs. I feel like if it was clear that this had to be done, they would have done it. This is the first time this incident happened because AEW have done stuff in Arthur Ashe Stadium for Dynamite and Collision, and they never had this issue because usually those shows end around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, so they never had to deal with that. But this is the first time they did a PLE here, and yes, this tends to happen. That's one issue. The other more complicated issue, which is the issue that WWE had to do for WrestleMania 35, is to properly coordinate with the boardwalk owners, which is the parks department, and the MTA, most likely also the police. You make one phone call to all these groups a few weeks in advance, even months in advance. You tell them, look, our event usually goes ends around this time. You can set it up. Boom, they'll get you extra cops. They'll get cops to help you because there were no cops, which is crazy. No police, no nothing. They could have set it up in a way that you can have the staff. You would probably have to pay for that service. I'm sure Tony wouldn't mind if it means happy fans in mind. Unfortunately, I personally don't think Tony Khan knew, and whoever helped him facilitate this event should be also at fault. And I'm hoping if they want to do more events in New York City, this comes into mind. But honestly, that's the simplest thing you can do is facilitate with these people, see what they can do for you. And I'm sure with the prices right, they'll make sure those gates are open. They'll make sure they have police, and they'll make sure they have the train runs in time. Maybe they'll set up a special train to pick these people up right when the event ends, so you don't worry about it. But maybe they'll set up an express train just to pick these people up. I don't know. If it's a lot of people and they see it's a good event for the city, they will do anything. That's honestly the main points. But none of this is takes a wrestling genius to do. It's events operation one-on-one. So, and it's the difference between a 5-star night and a viral disaster. Unfortunately, luckily for AEW, even with these issues, fans still came back home, and all we talked about is how great the event is. For me, it wasn't a big deal. We pivoted, we made it work, and I still enjoy the event. I didn't let this incident hurt my time at that event. Yeah, that is a site plan. That is right. Now, this is what I showed you before. This is what it looked like from where I was standing. Honestly, this is how it felt when I was standing. And I'm sure it felt like most people. But anyway, for anyone that watches this video who's went to Double or Nothing, let me know what was your exit experience. Did you get out clean, or were you stuck on the ramp at 1 a.m. like us? Anyway, drop your thoughts in the video. As always, if the T hit right, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.